Good evening. My name is Eugene Peterson. I'm chair of the Anne Arundel County Human Relations Commission. The Anne Arundel County Human Relations Commission is established as the county executive and the county council have stated as their refrain to make Anne Arundel County the best place for all. We have several statutory responsibilities. The first one we had that we were given that happened approximately in 2019 or 2020 was the county passed a statute that addressed housing alleged or real alleged housing discrimination or housing discrimination, and we have the responsibility to look at complaints that can come to us. We're on the county website. We have a web page, and there in English or several languages that can be translated, a citizen can lodge an alleged complaint of housing discrimination. Then we will review that complaint, and if we need to take action, we can take action as far as mediating and then going to requesting information from the complainant and the alleged perpetrator of the discrimination, and we can then look at that information and decide if we want to have a mediation hearing. If the hearing does not result in resolution of the complaint, we have the ability to go further and have a formal hearing and request information, subpoena for it if necessary. And we also have the ability, if we find it, to initiate whatever financial fines would be determined. In the 2024 session, budgetary session, legislative session, the county council gave us additional responsibility to look at public accommodation discrimination. That means any place where a person alleges in a public place that is open to the public, either holding events, or it could be a place where people go to dine, a movie theater, an event. We have the ability to address those allegations of discrimination. And the final responsibility that we were given in that legislation was employment discrimination. So we can look at allegations of employment discrimination in Anne Arundel County, excluding public employee, meaning those that work for the county who will still be under the umbrella of the county system for resolving those kinds of allegations of discrimination. In all the cases, both public discrimination and employment discrimination, on our web page on the county website, we're working with the Office of Law to create complaint forms similar to the ones that we have for housing discrimination that will be in English and several translated languages. So at this point in time, I'd like to turn the meeting over to our secretary, who will call the roll. Secretary Daydoni.
Gladly, thank you. And I apologize in advance for any mistaken names. And Ms. Newman, I need to start with you. I'm sorry, I've been absent once or twice. Are you one of our commissioners?
Good evening. Yes.
And may I ask which district, or are you uh, a county executive appointee?
County Executive Pete Smith.
Pete Smith is District 1. He's not the county executive.
Yes.
Okay, so you were representing District 1 then. And I am going in order of the districts. Commissioner Renee Newman is with us. From District 2, I see Lakeisha Hatcher on screen.
Present.
Thank you. And from District 3, I see Commissioner Faye Gaskin.
Present.
Thank you. From District 4, our President, Commissioner Eugene Peterson.
Present.
From District 5, Commissioner Hajieva, and oh, please forgive me, I love you and I can't say your name.
Yes, Hajieva Goliath present. Good evening, everyone. Nice meeting
evening.
everyone.
Thank you. And from District 6, Commissioner David Michaels. Who is
Present.
Thank you. I do not at this point see Commissioner Michelle Denton from District 7. I understand that in fact she has resigned and that is an empty seat. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And now go ahead, please, about the student representative.
Yes, that's Royaline, I think. I'm blocking on her name. Is the student representative present?
No.
Okay.
The county executive appointed commissioners are Mary Didoni, that is me. Also, Laura Langudy Farinas, or has she?
She resigned.
Okay. And Commissioner Jaden Ferris.
He's not going to be here tonight.
Okay, so missing tonight are commissioners, at this point at least, are commissioners Mark Apter and Jaden Ferris. Now I want to comment on the concept of a quorum. I take a rather strict reading of Robert's Rules of Orders that says a quorum is more than 50% of the positions, whether vacant or full. Full complement of positions would be 13. However, with 2 resigned, we only have 11 active. If we look at 13 as the full number, a quorum more than half would be 7 commissioners present. We have 7 commissioners present. Therefore, I affirm that we have a quorum to conduct business.
Thank you, Commissioner Didoni. Appreciate your thorough calling of the roll and explaining the quorum to everybody. At this point in time, I'd like to move to looking at our minutes, and therefore I'll go back to Commissioner Didoni. And I would say that in the chat, Chanel has put the minutes so that you can go in and take a look at them. And then Commissioner Didoni, I see Commissioner Sorrow is now with us. So she's present, Commissioner Didoni.
You're muted. You're muted, Commissioner Didoni.
And my space bar isn't working. I'm so sorry. I checked you off and I saw you and I apologize, and we have your voice online. Thank you very much.
Yep, no worries.
Anne Arundel County Developments, the Arundel Community Development Services appointee. Thank you very much.
Okay, Commissioner Didoni, why don't you go ahead and explain? The minutes are in the chat, I believe. Can everybody get them and see them, and explain? And you can explain where we are with the minutes.
Sure. Well, I volunteered willingly and with the best of intentions to be secretary. I have had some difficulties that I have not kept up with the minutes. The July and August minutes are still not available. These are the minutes from the September meeting that was held a month ago. I actually transcribed them from the YouTube recording, and I am very grateful for those recordings. I certainly depend on them more than on my written notes. I've chosen to take what is a little bit more than just an action item approach. We're going to have a discussion shortly about who's in attendance and not, and that's not correct. We will have a discussion about the importance of attendance, and we've had it before. Therefore, attachment 1, and I hope to make this standing, is who's in attendance. Please check that to make sure I got that right, because on the YouTube transcription, I don't necessarily see everyone, and someone may have not spoken. In general, action minutes don't include discussion topics, but I felt that it was important for us to at least know what the discussion topics were, especially at Director Smith's request when we made a list of organizations to which we wanted to send our finalized human rights and Anne Arundel County Human Relations Commission calendar. So that is also included. That's under item 3 under the presentations and discussion topics. We did have a decision, and that was to approve the calendar, which is included as attachment 2 with an image of it exactly as was shown on the screen by Director Asha Smith. The executive committee had made recommendations for what we wanted to occur during the year. It was Director Smith who volunteered and did place those on a calendar in an effective way for us. That was brought to us at the last meeting, and we unanimously approved it. There were 3 action items that I captured. This first is the distribution of the calendar once it is published. And that means individually to all those organizations listed. If you are an appointee of a county council member, you're asked to personally make sure that this calendar gets to your county council member with enough of a personal note for them to actually open the email. We had a bit of a discussion about around the topic of security in our last meeting, and one of the commissioners mentioned that security could be very physical and very real, especially bodily, especially for public figures and elected and appointed officials. This led to Chairman Peterson saying he would be getting in touch with Dr. Nataf or with Commissioner Michaels, who is working with Dr. Nataf at the community college to form the next community survey and get a question in about whether we know about the threats and how individuals in the county feel about those threats. And then Commissioner Hatcher, who is a liaison with the Annapolis Human Relations Commission, volunteered to draft a letter to the incoming Annapolis mayor, a person to be elected in November and in office at the beginning of January, to invite closer collaboration between Annapolis City and the Anne Arundel County Human Relations Commission, including a specific invitation for a joint meeting in person at city facilities. And Commissioner Mark Apter, who raised that idea, will coordinate with Commissioner Harris. I'm sorry, that is Commissioner Hatcher. I will make that correction. And that is a review of the minutes.
Okay. Having had a review of the minutes, are there any comments from or additional corrections from commissioners?
Yes.
Commissioner Michaels?
Part of the executive committee meeting prior to September that I was not able to attend due to illness, it was discussed, it was voted upon, it wasn't put in Director Smith's calendar of events, but it was agreed to, and unless something changed between the September prior executive committee and September's commission meeting. The 15th item on the calendar is the third annual Anne Arundel County Affordable Housing Symposium on October 22nd, 2025 at the Crown Plaza Hotel, where Secretary Jake Day from Housing, and since we work in fair housing, will be there. Shanika Henson will be doing the keynote at lunch, along with being on the panel. Stuart Pittman, the county executive, will be in attendance. The mayor of Annapolis will be in attendance, and many other advocates, dignitaries, and people who are concerned about affordable housing in our county. I'm not sure anybody remembers that executive committee conversation, but that was added to the calendar. So that would be my one.
I will add a note to the calendar. While I can't change the picture, I'll add a note missing from this calendar and then I will add the specifics of that. So
And-
the minutes will be revised accordingly. Will that be acceptable?
Yes, I would love that. And in the chat, I put the link so that people who are interested can register and attend.
And I, in turn, will recognize that you are the driving force. Well, perhaps there are other driving forces. To my knowledge, you are the driving and organizing force behind this. So with gratitude, thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Also, I attended that meeting. I'm not listed as having attended.
Okay, and you were present at the meeting, and that was that Commissioner Gaskin speaking?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. That is the thing I worry about missing the most. It is where I'm likely to miss. Thank you, Commissioner Gaskin. Okay, so in summary, the changes to be made are on attachment 2, the final sentence names Commissioner Harris. There is no Commissioner Harris. That is Commissioner Hatcher. I will add a note to the calendar, which is attachment 2, calling out the Anne Arundel County Annual Affordable Housing Forum with a link to the event and the date given. And finally, I will adjust attachment 1 to show that Commissioner Faye Gaskin was in attendance at the meeting.
Okay, having had those corrections, there are no further corrections that I hear coming from any of the commissioners. So therefore, I would ask for a motion to adopt the minutes.
I shall make a motion to adopt the minutes.
Is there a second?
I second it.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? Okay, hearing none, the minutes have been accepted and passed. Thank you, Commissioner Daydone.
Thank you for the pronunciation. You speak enough Italian. Thank you.
I now would like to move to our first.
Sir?
Yes.
A note just appeared in the chat. I believe it was from Dr. Nicola Smithkey, asking if Zayugu could do the presentation of the data that Director Asha Smith would do if she were here. Have I understood that correctly?
Moving forward, ZU will do the presentation of hate crimes data. I'm just asking for permission for her to do it after my presentation, seeing that Asha won't be here.
That's fine. You have that permission.
Thank you.
Dr. Nikki, we'll turn to you for your presentation.
Thank you. Let me share my screen. Is everyone able to see that?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. So thank you for the invitation to present the Anne Arundel County Hate Crimes Prevention Program Community Survey results. This survey period was May 23, 2025 to June 30th, 2025. Survey respondents, information on the survey respondents. We had a total of 494 individuals respond to the survey, which we think is a really good number for the short period that we had the survey open. In terms of zip codes, 40 respondents listed zip codes that were not included in Anne Arundel County, and so we removed them from the data analysis, which left us with 454 respondents. In terms of the format of the presentation, it's color-coded. I'll talk first about the respondent demographics. Then we had a category of questions around familiarity, and then safety, reporting, act of hate crime or hate bias incident, the fear of hate crime, hate bias incident, and reporting that, and also how did they hear about it. So just again, going over the different categories, it's familiarity with hate crimes and hate bias incident term, safety in Anne Arundel County, whether or not respondents felt safe living in Anne Arundel County, their experience of reporting hate bias incidents or hate crime, the act, what to do if they experience or witness a hate bias incident or a hate crime, the fear that might affect a respondent's decision to report an experienced incident, and how did they hear about the survey. So in terms of demographics, majority of the respondents were older, white, women, heterosexual, Christian, and did not have a disability. And I'll go into each of these a little more. Respondents by age, over a quarter were over the age of 66 years old. You will see as we move forward, there are certain groups which the numbers are really small. Some of them might not have gotten into the overall analysis because of the numbers. So as I mentioned before, that peach, and I'm not sure what the color is showing up on your screen, are populations too small to draw conclusions and not included in the following analysis. Respondents by race, over 2/3 were white. And then we had another 16.3% or 74 Black or African American. In terms of ethnicity, majority were not Hispanic. In terms of gender, majority of the respondents were women at 72.7% or 330 respondents, and 18.9% or 86 were men. Respondents' bisexuality, majority were heterosexual. That it was a 76.9%. Respondents by disability status, majority did not have a disability at 80.8% or 369 respondents. 12.8% or 57 responded yes to having a disability status. In terms of religion, majority of the respondents were Christian at 55.1%. A number of individuals chose not to answer that question. And the next largest group was non-religious at 12.3% or 56 respondents. The next category of questions is around familiarity. The familiarity summary with hate crimes and hate bias incident terms includes perceived ability to define the difference between hate crime and hate bias incident. And most respondents, 76.9%, stated that they had heard the term hate crime and knew what it meant. A smaller majority of respondents, 57%, said they knew the difference between hate bias incidents and hate crime. Again, breaking it down, respondents by, excuse me, did I go the wrong direction? I did go the wrong direction. The next question was, how familiar are you with the term hate crime? And these are the categories that they had as options to respond. I have heard of it and I know what it means. I have heard of it and I think I know what it means. I have heard of it, but I'm not sure what it means, and I have not heard of it. As mentioned before, 76.9% said they have heard of it and know what it means. Do you know the difference between a hate crime and a hate bias incident? Again, 57% said yes, they knew the difference. 43% said no, they don't know the difference. And if you all recall from a previous presentation, in terms of the Anne Arundel County Hate Crimes Prevention Program, a huge part of what we're focused on is getting community to understand the difference between hate crime and hate bias incident. So we have our work cut out for us as we go around the county. Keywords, how would you define a hate crime? This was an open question, so the analysts categorized them. The question was, how would you define a hate crime and how would you define a hate bias incident? A lot of individuals defined it based on race. A number of individuals defined it based on religion. And I'll just sit on this for a minute for you all to see what is here. And as a reminder, I'll switch over for a quick second. Are you seeing that new screen? If
Yep.
you remember, just as a reminder, if you go to our hate crimes webpage or No Hate Here webpage, when you go on this page, the community survey is actually there. The copy of the survey that we administered is there. The results of the survey is there. So a little more robust PowerPoint is online, and an executive summary is there as well. So just wanted to point that out to you all. In terms of safety, including perceived level of safety in Anne Arundel County and whether respondents or their friends have experienced a hate bias incident, majority of respondents, 66.5%, reported feeling somewhat or very safe in Anne Arundel County. Less than 20% of respondents reported feeling somewhat unsafe, or 15.2%, or very unsafe at 3.1%. So again, how do you feel in Anne Arundel County? Most respondents feel somewhat and very safe as residents in Anne Arundel County. And as we're going through this, I want you to just remember the majority of individuals who completed this survey as you're hearing all of these results as well. Have you or anyone you know ever experienced a hate bias incident or hate crime in Anne Arundel County? 58.4% said no, 41.6% said yes. When did the most recent hate bias incident or hate crime occur? 83 respondents, or 43.9%, say they experienced a hate bias incident crime within the last year. Again, something we're looking into as we get the results, as we continue to get the results. We'll see what changes occur. And what I should have said at the beginning as well, this was a baseline survey. We're planning to do this every year for the duration of the grant, which ends hopefully in 2028. Reporting summary of having experienced hate bias incidents or hate crime for respondents who have experienced incidents includes whether they reported it and to whom they reported it. In summary, less than half of the respondents, 41.6%, reported that they or someone they knew had experienced a hate bias incident or hate crime in Anne Arundel County. Of those who experienced an incident, 29.6% reported the incident. The most common reporting methods included the police at 33.9% via 911 and 8.9% via the police station. 17.9% were reported through the school officials, 12.5% through HR and management, and 10.7% advocacy or other justice organizations. And this is just a graphic of what we just spoke about. Did you or a friend report a hate bias incident? 70.4% said no, they did not report, and 29.6% said yes, they reported. How did you or your friend report the hate crime? Again, just repeating what was said earlier, majority of individuals reported via police and 911 or in person at a police station? Why did your friend choose not to report the hate bias incident or hate crime? Most respondents who chose not to report a hate bias incident did so because they believed nothing would happen. And that's a reality we'll have to deal with as we move forward with this work. It is no surprise, a lot of communities, there is a fraught relationship with law enforcement and also the belief that nothing will come of it. The reality is based on the numbers, and I'm hoping to do a funnel graphic at some point. We get a decent number of individuals experiencing hate crimes. That number gets smaller on who reports, and very little get prosecuted. And so that's something we'll educate individuals around. It's not just about prosecution, but we can provide other resources as we move forward. So we're really going to be focusing on educating community. Act summary, what respondents would do if witness or experience hate bias incidents or hate crimes and to whom they would report. About half respondents felt mostly or very confident that they knew what to do if they were the victim or witness of a hate bias incident. About half of respondents felt slightly or not at all confident at 18.8%. When asked who they would report an incident to, should they want to report it, the most common answer was to the police at 88.3%. The next common answer was selected by less than half as many respondents. They would say to a family member at 42.7%. And again, this is just a graphic explaining what I just mentioned. How confident do you feel that you know what to do if you witness or are a victim of a hate bias incident or hate crime? 29.7% felt mostly confident, and 18.1% felt very confident. This was a long answer or an open question. If you're someone you know experienced a hate bias incident or hate crime, what would you do? And we categorize this as well. Majority of individuals said that they would go to law enforcement, and that was 222 of the respondents. If you wanted to report a hate bias incident or hate crime, who would you tell? Again, majority said that they would tell police or family members and then advocacy group. Fear summary, that might affect the respondent's decision to report an experienced incident. When asked why they might not report a hate bias incident, the largest number of individuals said the fear of retaliation was the most common reason. And we're hearing that as we go into community around the county, followed by concerns about privacy or social repercussion. What will the neighbor say? I spoke to an individual a few months ago who shared that her neighbor has been harassing her for at least 4 years. And her resolve, her decision is to move houses because she cannot get any response or recourse for this harassment. And the individual has turned to weaponizing county departments against this individual. There's also a lack of knowledge on whether it should be reported at 35.9% and lack of knowledge on where or how to report. Select up to 3 reasons why you would not report a hate bias incident. Of course, fear of retaliation again was the #1 reason. And the last question was just a general question on how they heard about the survey, and majority of individuals heard about the survey via email. And that is all I have for you today. Let me stop sharing and see if you have any questions.
This is Commissioner Dejoni. I would like to hear if she's willing to speak from Commissioner Hayeva about concerns and experiences in reporting incidents to the police by phone. As president, as chairman, Eugene Peterson and Dr. Nikki are aware. I have also now experienced that concern personally. Are you willing to say any more in this forum?
Commissioner Hajivera, that question is
Yes.
to you. Go ahead.
When we report to police on the phone, what happens is when you request a report, we don't get the report. They say, there was some voice calling, there was misunderstanding, like report almost not exist. So that is really concerning, especially we did actually ask in our community when someone is an immigrant and Black, this happens a lot. So I would love we really take into consideration and see. I understand sometimes dispatcher may not be well experienced. They also train their dispatcher, but I would love to know how do they train and to take the report. So maybe there need to be improvement, and also like to know if this is to any other community members if they are not immigrant and Black.
Thank you for sharing that. One thing I want to point out, and I'd love to have a further conversation with you. A couple things. One, if and when this happens, I encourage you to reach out to me, or you can reach out to, we have a generic email, no hate here, at annearundelcounty.org, that you can encourage individuals to reach out to us so that we're aware of that. In terms of report, you mentioned dispatchers. There are two different systems, and I do realize the average individual does not recognize this. You're calling 911. There's a call taker taking that call. It's moving across literally in a room to a dispatcher who then sends it out to law enforcement. If a 911 call gets to law enforcement, they are expected by policy to write a report, and so that report should be in existence somewhere. So again, unless it was not dispatched to law enforcement, that's a different issue, and I'd love to get a little more detail from you on exactly what people are experiencing so that we can try and address it as best as possible.
Yeah, thank you. I will take a look some of the notes that I have from the community.
Thank you. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. Please feel free to invite us out to your community meetings. We are more than willing to come out and talk with individuals, share with individuals, listen to individuals. So please feel free to invite us out to meetings. Information is power, and when we educate community, they will be more empowered. There's a lot of misunderstanding literally about how 911 and policing works. No fault of anyone, but if we can clear up that very basic understanding, that will help a lot.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Michaels?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Smith. Keith. The first is just to sort of follow up on Commissioner Hayev's comment, and I don't know, I'm just asking, and maybe Commissioner Sorrow might be able to put a note on this. A lot of times, it's a very fine line between a hate crime report, but something that might be covered, believe it or not, under your homeowner's insurance if it happens to something surrounding a person. I know that sounds sort of out there, but the first thing an insurance company does is request a police report in order for them to even consider something that has happened to you. It's not always, like I said, it's not always a hate crime. Really, I don't even know where I'm going with this, other than police reports are required. And I remember when a break-in of my car happened, I had to keep after the police to even give me the report, because their comment was it happened so often, they like whatever. So the squeaky wheel gets the oil, I guess. So I'm just gonna, that's an overall statement.
Thank you.
I don't know if
By
that's helpful
policy,
or not, but
by policy, they are expected to write a report. So
Correct.
again, if you hear any of your constituents complain that they did not get a report, please let us know.
yes. And then
They-
this is something for my education. At the beginning of your PowerPoint, did you say 443 people responded?
Correct.
Of the 443%, what percent were 66 plus?
Give me 1 second. So 454 were
Mhm.
eligible for analysis.
Or is it 80 responded? I'm sorry. I thought 454 responded. You sent out 454. Is that correct?
We sent out surveys. 494 responded. 454 were analyzed because they were eligible. They came from Anne Arundel County.
Gotcha.
In terms of the numbers of 60 and older, we had 241.
Which was what percent without me having to use the calculator?
Over 50%.
Okay.
More than half.
More than half.
Yeah.
So this is my question. Without any knowledge of this, how you have to put the survey together, do you have to put a disclaimer in a survey that states that, other than the data? Because to me, of the 454 that were accepted as analyzed, it's also not a true picture of it's a picture of the 454. It's not
Correct.
a true picture of the county's situation, because not enough population from other age groups have responded. And of course, when they're at 0.5% or 2% and it can't be analyzed correctly for you, my question is, do we get an askewed result?
You get the result of the survey that is done. Simple and plain. This is not a claim representative of Anne Arundel County. This is the result of the survey and the individuals who did the survey.
Got you. Okay. And so, and this is, again, Commissioner Sorrow might be able to help me with this. I'm just trying to understand and also just cause some conversation about this. But when we do a point in time survey for housing, a lot of times, or homelessness, it's done on one day
Correct.
in January. And yes, we have results from that, but grants, money, help, housing, building, like all kinds of things are based upon a one point in time situation. And I'm asking if this is similar. I know it's plain and simple. It was a survey. You took the 454, you gave us the answers. But it is also like a point in time, which isn't a true picture of the hate crime and hate bias situation. That only can come maybe from a monthly report that we get from Director Smith.
So a couple things. This is a survey to community members on their understanding and perception and experience with hate crime. The point in time survey for homelessness, or people experiencing homelessness, rather, has been done over the years, and so there is trend analysis that they can use.
Hmm.
that first point in time survey would not have been able to get grant funding in any way at all.
Sure.
I am almost sure.
Yeah.
But through the years and decades, I cannot remember when it started, they've had this trend, and that trend follows through the years. So they're more able to give a more general response
Mhm.
in terms of individuals experiencing homelessness.
A data track.
This is our first community survey.
Yeah.
In 3 years, we can have this conversation again for us to
I
see the trends that
Yeah.
are there.
Okay. Good.
The other thing is next year, having gone through this, we will do more outreach to vulnerable populations, to
Mhm.
diverse populations, so that we have a more representative sample. This is by, I was about to say it's by no means representative, but in some ways it is. A lot of individuals in Anne Arundel County are white and female and older.
I got you. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for that. It's good.
You are absolutely welcome.
Obviously when we have an opportunity to continue conversation, I'm just trying to learn as much as I can, and I want,
No problem
the
at
more
all.
information, the better. And I love all your data, and I appreciate you taking the time to answer my questions.
Thank you. And just a reminder, it's online, and it was very intentional that we post it. I don't do research and not go back to community members. So it's online for everyone to see and to look at and to review. And feel free to reach out to me and come with other questions if you have.
Thank you.
Commissioner Sarah?
Yeah, just sort of along the same lines as Commissioner Michaels. He led me to a question, and that is, yes, the survey was disproportionately responded to by older white people, but that is, as you just said, very representative of Anne Arundel County. Did you do a comparison of the respondents in comparison to sort of the makeup of the county? It looked very, to me, just looking at it, it kind of looked like a picture of our population.
We did not do that specific analysis, but it is very close to what the current population is.
Yeah, so it probably does tell us more than about community perceptions than we might think.
Correct. What we won't see a true picture of is who is experiencing hate crime and hate bias incidents.
Right.
Go ahead. And anecdotally, we're hearing that there is an increase in hate bias incidents, but the numbers aren't showing it. And there's little we can do with the numbers. And that leads to another point I want to mention. We are in the process of creating a reporting portal separate and apart from law enforcement. We've been discussing this for a few months. We have a draft. We did a pilot with the multidisciplinary advisory team. We are having meetings with each of the executives in law enforcement, the sheriff, the county PD, Annapolis PD, Community College, and Crofton. And after that, we're going to the county executives team to do a demonstration of this as well. This came about in response to one of our promises in the grant narrative to increase reporting. As an immigrant, I think everyone knows I'm an immigrant. There is a lack of trust in the immigrant population to call law enforcement for various reasons. And so we want a different space and place for individuals to report. And this will in no way or shape or form go to law enforcement at all.
Yeah.
And that will be made clear, and we will throughout the entire reporting portal encourage people to report to law enforcement, but this data will not go to law enforcement.
Right. We are seeing that in my work, that fewer people are coming to court to protect their rights. Even people seeking who need protective orders are afraid to come to court to get that help. Number one, because they don't want to be near the courthouse because they're afraid of potential problems surrounding the courthouse and the mistrust of everything. And so I just see people who are most vulnerable going further underground
Yeah.
and being more undercounted than maybe ever before.
Correct. And I anticipate that will be the case and we'll have increase in that moving forward. So again,
Yeah.
Commissioner Hajive, Commissioner, can you please pronounce your name for me? Hajieva?
Yes. I
Yes,
think
Hajieva, yes.
Thank
My
you.
my little one is screaming in the background. I'm sorry. Yes,
problem.
Hajieva.
Hajieva. Again, Commissioner Hajieva and others, please encourage communities. Commissioner Sorrow, the folks you're working with, have us come out and talk with them. We're more than happy and willing to do so. Commissioner Dedone?
I wanted to observe what I didn't observe, and what I didn't observe was representation responses from the Hispanic community, which is somewhere around 16% of Anne Arundel County, more in Annapolis area. There were no responses. I also want to raise an issue. The Commissioner Sorrow's discussion with you, Dr. Nikki, raises the top of my mind. For background on this, if you wish, you can go to the NAACP of Anne Arundel County website or Facebook page and look at their latest quarterly newsletter. I wrote the lead article. The lead article is titled Driving While Black, Observing While White. And what I observed as I sat in court with a young Black woman who had been charged with 21 charges,
Counts.
reduced to 1 after the camera footage was examined, was that the population summoned to court was predominantly Black and brown, and that the day started out with a call of all those who did not show up and the issuing of bench warrants for them, which is an acceleration of misery. We have now people who are afraid to show up for a traffic violation, who can fall deeply into the criminal justice system. This is not the best place for all. It is disproportionately impacting dark-skinned immigrants. I believe that falls within the purview of this commission, and perhaps we should work with the executive office and with the police department as police departments to see if we can seek any remedy to this issuance of bench warrants.
What I will say to you all is that conversations need to be had. In whatever form, shape, that needs to start happening. We're not talking enough about these issues. We're working in silos. How do we get together and come together and have conversations to resolve some of these issues or find other ways to manage some of these issues, which will become increasingly worse as we move forward, not unique to Anne Arundel County, but this is a trend across the entire country. If there are no other questions, I thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nikki, for a very good and thorough presentation. I would just say in response to Commissioner Dedone's
Plea
to us that we are scheduled to have the police department giving us a presentation, I believe, at our November meeting, and we can prior to that, Commissioner Dedone, if you're amenable to this, you can send me a email requesting certain answers or requesting that they be ready to respond to certain questions that might occur, and I'll send it in to the police department so that they're aware of your concerns and will be perhaps prepared to address them.
I am amenable and will do so. May I assume that the same request extends to every commissioner on this call?
That is correct.
Thank you.
Just a point of clarification, the bench warrants will be issued by the court, not the police.
You're right.
So if we have an
Yeah,
issue with that, then you would deal with the court system, and not the police department.
The court and the sheriff
Well, the sheriff will serve them, but they're
will
issued by the
serve, but
court.
right, but it's not
So
not
it's the
county
court that
police.
issues them. Right, so that's who, if we're gonna have a conversation about that, and the climate that we're living in now, and then why some people, certain groups may not show up for court. And, like what types of, like a minor traffic thing is there something we can do, without you issuing a bench warrant every time somebody doesn't show up for a traffic case, for instance? Those types of conversations, but they have to be had with the court system and not with law enforcement.
And I will stop talking soon. Just bear in mind also, these are based on laws, right? So it's not something that they can get up and change overnight. So these are bigger conversations. This isn't a conversation to say, can you remove that checkbox? And again,
Exactly.
why I suggested a more comprehensive conversation across the public safety space, not just the county PD. We need court commissioners in, which nobody seem to know that there are court commissioners as well in Maryland. And those individuals determine who gets served, for instance. All these different players need to be in a conversation. And I think the HRC is well suited to convene such a conversation.
Thank you for that input.
I would like to see an action item evolving from this beyond my forming a question for the police department, because they don't even serve the warrants. I don't know what the action item is. I know it's got my name on it in part, but not just my name. Can my fellow commissioners and Chairman Peterson, can you help us form an action item so that from this meeting forward, we are engaging with that if this body so decides?
Are you asking for us to make a motion to have a meeting? The most logical thing to do would be to ask whoever would be representative from the courts to come and give us a presentation on how they issue bench warrants.
Well, I'm sorry, Commissioner Peters, can I just jump in for a minute? Because I think this is the action item that Commissioner Dedoni is asking for. I think is a perfect thing to be brought, because now that we have our executive committee, to be brought to the executive committee and to maybe be inserted into our plan, and also soon, maybe something sooner than later. Because I also just took a note from Dr. Smith-Key and Dr. and Commissioner Dedoni that I think convene a conversation with all the players, adding this action item into that is a great idea. And I think that our executive committee is really moving along the process of putting things on the calendar and also getting some action items done. Would Commissioner Dedoni accept that the executive committee discuss this? And I've just made a note that we should have this at our next November conversation.
I most certainly would, and add to it that although we're aware of people showing up in court because of risk of deportation, we have long known that the huge backlog of warrants,
right,
bench warrants, is due in part to people moving. They can't be followed to their new addresses. All the sequelae to poverty and chaos and instability
Yep.
can result in bench warrants.
Yep, I'm making those notes. I just think that we have this now new tool at our disposal, which is called the executive committee. And I think this is how we can get things on a roster, get things on a to-do list. And yeah, and I'm also taking notes from Dr. Smith's presentation too, because I like this idea about convening a conversation. I did not know about court commissioners in Anne Arundel County, so now I'm going to research that and look into it more and ask for guidance. Is that acceptable that we do that? And then, so Commissioner Peterson, can we put that on the executive committee to-do list agenda? Because I've taken it down as something to discuss.
Without exception, I think, the consensus would be of the commission that we would like that to happen.
Okay.
And unless there is objection voiced, I will record that as an action item for the executive committee in the minutes from this meeting.
Is that acceptable to the commissioners here on the call and also to our executive committee commissioners?
Yes, but I would just add that Commissioner Gaskin's point is a good one, that whether bench warrants are issued or not is a result of the laws that underlie the issuance of a bench warrant. So it is not, some of judges will say this is not discretionary.
Right.
If the law requires that I issue this, so there would have to be a change to the law to change the issuance of bench warrants for failures to appear. And
Right.
so I'm not sure that I do think we need to have a bigger conversation to figure out who even we would want to have discuss this with us.
Yes.
And to maybe consider some other options about, do we change maybe not the bench warrant law or the law leading up to that, but rather do we make it more possible for people to appear virtually, which is a huge issue and a huge problem, and could be a good solution for some of these issues. There's a mechanism by which people can appear virtually. Certainly for civil cases, it's more complicated in criminal cases, but there's a I guess what I'm saying is there is a larger conversation here that goes back to the laws that are in place that are leading to the issuance of bench warrants and the difficulty that many people have in appearing for court appearances, whether it's civil or criminal.
Right. And I think, sorry, just jumping in, yeah, a process. There's a process. So it begins over here with the law. And then from that point, it goes to this area where a warrant is issued and they have to appear. But what I'm hearing is along this path, two things are happening. How crowded the courts are, how busy sheriffs are to complete a warrant to bring somebody in. I heard, from Commissioner Gaskin that, or from Daduni about bench warrants, poverty, deportation, moving. All that's playing a role in this. And then I also heard Dr. Smith-Key say about that there's commissioners, so maybe their involvement in their conversation about why this is happening. But also we've talked in the executive committee about making, where do we stand in legislation? Where I know that we've written testimony from this organization. Chairman Peterson's written testimony. Others have written testimony. So I think it is a big picture item. But if we're going to become next level HRC, next level Human Relations Commission, then I think we need to be playing in these circles. And it's just a process. And so now we're putting into place these processes. And I've also made a note that this might be also something that we need to be adding to our long range planning. If everybody is in agreement, Chairman Peterson, can we move forward then on the meeting and that we have put this on as an action item to the executive committee? I don't know if their motion needs to be made about that, but I think we can.
I have a question. Within the compounds of our commission, are we within our, I guess, regulations to move in this direction? I'm a little confused. as to like how much power or influence do we have in regards to the bench warrants and things of that nature? I actually had two questions. I couldn't find my hand though.
We are required to take on public issues of inequity and discrimination. Doesn't say anything about bench warrants.
Okay.
We are expected to take on areas of inequity and discrimination. This
Do we
is,
have to prove then that it's a discriminatory action, or we just
can-
say it's an area of concern?
it's an area of concern. We can hold public hearings. We can gather fact.
Okay,
And that is something we should be doing. I
okay,
would add that for now, listen to the people who've been talking. We are white people. I'm clearly white. This is a stunning example of systemic racism that I could not see, and I've been looking in this arena for well over a decade. That too is appropriate for us to take on, not to solve,
mm-hmm.
to reveal.
And Commissioner Daydoni, I commend your even bringing it up as an action item, because it is historically an issue, from race profiling to systematically, Black and Brown having the highest population in the system versus just the population period in our counties. My other question then goes into whether or not we need to have conversations with some, with the executive committee, with some of the, police departments, some of the key stakeholders or key players that may see this on an ongoing basis. Do we need to then start having those conversations? Like, is that an action? I'm trying to figure out what is the action item. And I think I'm getting lost in the translation of it.
I think when it goes back to the executive committee, that we have to actually frame what
Okay.
that action item is.
Okay.
I don't think we can do that right now.
Right.
I think we have to
Okay.
have more discussion, this frame, some framework around it before we
Very
can move
good,
forward.
because I know we was about to vote, but I didn't know exactly what we were voting on in regards to the action.
I think what I was trying to do was to not have a vote on that, take it into executive committee, create the framework as Commissioner Gaskin mentioned, Commissioner Daydoni mentioned, Commissioner Sorrow mentioned, and put some framework outline and something together so that we can bring it back to the commissioners to say to you, okay, we now have this to come back to you about.
Okay, very good. And I'm sorry to go back, but my other question was for Dr. Nikki. Now that you have kind of the foundation, you've initiated the survey. Do you see the responses, and we know that it's limited, it's not really representing the entire county, but do you see the responses as showing an indication of an issue? And how are you using the survey to forward plan?
The survey is purely informational to tell us who has information, who does not, where we need to educate, who we need to educate. That's just one tool. There's the data that is posted on the hate crimes dashboard. That's a whole other tool. We're doing community conversations with individuals. We're doing informational meetings at libraries. We're offering training. So the survey is one mere tool that will help to guide us moving forward. The reporting portal will be another major tool. We are having, and you all would have gotten, a hate bias webinar series. Please share. Everything that I share with you all, I need you to share with your communities. There's no way we can get to everyone. And in particular, the survey, This was shared with the commission a couple times. It was shared with a number of people a couple times. I implore you all not to get and sit on it. Share it widely with others. So in response to your question, Commissioner Hatcher, this is one tool in our tool belt to help us to understand the state of hate in Anne Arundel County.
Thank you,
Hope
Dr.
that
Nikki.
answers.
Okay, Commissioner Peters, and if nobody else has any questions or discussion, I think we have a plan to move this into the executive committee. I
Yes.
think we need to appreciate Dr. Smith-Key's presentation, which was awesome. And we can move forward with the meeting. Is that acceptable for everybody?
I think there's general
Yes.
concurrence that we move forward. Fine. And again, thank you, Dr. Nikki, for a very thorough and dynamic presentation. And we will do as you have requested, spread the information out to those who we interact with. Okay. At this point in time, Dr. Nikki, I think you said that
ZU will do
ZU,
the presentation on this month's hate bias incident.
this month,
summary.
yes. ZU.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm just gonna do a brief report on the hate bias incident summary for the months of August and the beginning of September. So first of all, this is just an overview of the total incidents in 2025. The ones for September is basically like the first half of September, I believe. So just a pause. So in total, there has been 119 incidents, hate bias incidents in 2025. So focusing on the hate bias incidents in August to September 2025, here are the types of incidents. And as you can see, miscellaneous, non-criminal incident, and threats and intimidation are the top two types of hate bias incidents at 27.3% each. And the third highest would be simple assault. In terms of hate bias type, nearly 70% of hate bias incidents in August to September were motivated by race and ethnicity, which is very consistent to the trend of the previous month as well. And for offender characteristics, again, nearly 70% of offenders identified as white, and 81.8% of hate bias incidents had one identifiable victim in the case, as opposed to 2 or 3. When it comes to victims, 57.1% of victims identify as Black, so that would be 12 incidents, and 50% of, oops, I think this is a typo here, but 50% of hate bias incident had one identifiable individual victim. So I'll pause here, take a look. 45.5% of hate bias incidents, which is 10 incidents, occurred at Glen Burnie, followed by Annapolis and Brooklyn.
Could I ask you to go back to the previous slide, pause for a moment, the reporting districts. Can we match these up with the police jurisdictions? These intakes are coming, I believe, through the police jurisdictions. And I want to add a note here. If all we are getting is information from Anne Arundel County Police Department, there are other policing jurisdictions that do their own private reporting. I am now aware that Anne Arundel Community College Police Force does its own reporting. Like the county police, they're required to report, but it isn't duplicate reporting. I do not know what happens for Laurel, which I believe has its own police department, nor do I know what happens in the city of Annapolis. if I am incorrect, please let me know. I am now interested in trying to identify these by source, including down to the district level for Anne Arundel County Police Department. Is that possible?
We would be able to give you district information, and that would just require a bit more analysis. In terms, you mentioned Laurel, the Laurel Police Department, and I could stand corrected, does not sit in Anne Arundel County. So we do not deal with Laurel Police Department at all. The Community College Police Department, we've communicated with them. They have said earlier on when I just came, they do not have any hate crimes. And I left that. Crofton also does not. Majority of the hate crime incidents actually do go through the county police department. We also started getting data from Annapolis PD, and we're able to share that information with you in another meeting. But Annapolis PD's data is not on our hate bias dashboard for the county.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nikki. And I heard you carefully say, and I know you're always very clear about this, it's instinctive for you, hate crimes. And I was less clear. I'm particularly interested in incident reporting.
And again, we will go through this in another meeting. I think we need an in-person training session. All incidents fall under the category of incident, and then crimes that have an attachment to hate based on protected classes are then defined as hate crimes. So everything comes in as a hate incident. The law enforcement does their investigation. They determine whether or not a crime was committed as the base, and then whether or not there's a layer of hate based on the act happening because of a protected class. So forgive me when I say hate crimes, hate bias incidents. So this data is hate bias incidents. The data on the dashboard is hate crimes that have been reported to the state. So this will be a much bigger number than one we see on the dashboard.
Yes, anticipated, and thank you. And constant reminder is helpful. My head spun a little bit when you said that the community college said they had no hate crimes, not because it's possible that they have, impossible for them to have no hate crimes. That's possible, but they chose to not say a word about hate bias incidents. Thank you.
I have a quick question, and I'm sorry, I can't find the hand to put my hand up. I think it was slide 2 or 3, and thank you, Dr. Nikki, for clarifying, because I know on your survey there was a distinction between incident and crime. So when I see assault, but simple, is that just because it was reported, it's considered an incident and not a crime? I think it's slide 2 or 3 where it kind of gives the type of incidents, the percentages that fall.
Z, if you can just go back to that. And again, that's the intricacy of this.
There you go.
That's the intricacy of this whole thing, right?
Okay.
So there's one event, and the use of the term incident is another confusion in the whole thing, because that's police language. There's one event, no matter what happens, it's considered a hate crime. And that's anything that happens at a place of worship. That's the only hate crime. When we see this comes in as an incident until investigated. Once investigated and there is reason to believe that a crime has been committed, and they can attach the crime being committed based on a protected class, then it becomes a hate crime. All the numbers we have here are considered incidents. That doesn't mean that they're not a crime. The simple assault is a crime. Whether or not it's a hate crime is another story. Does that help to clarify?
Slightly, yes. I figured.
So it's a crime.
Under the umbrella until it's been investigated and deemed as an actual crime.
Hate, nope, not as a crime.
Not as a
a
crime.
hate crime.
Hate crime, that's what I meant. Hate
So
crime.
the simple assault is a crime, but is it a hate crime? We don't know until it's been investigated as
Okay.
a hate crime.
Thank you for clarifying.
Go ahead, Z. You can go back to where you were.
Yes.
And this is I think it's the last one. So in terms of incident place, 31.8% of hate bias incidents occurred at one's residence or home, followed by hotel and motel. So yeah, that's all I have.
Okay, this is open for any questions, comments from commissioners.
Thank you, ZU.
Do we need to make a motion to accept this particular report?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we thank you for both the larger report and Z for your analysis of the monthly data. And at some point in time, I think we still need to understand, and maybe it's my fault for not having it sent out explicitly to the commission. There's a difference between the state statute for a hate crime and the incident data that Anne Arundel County collects, which is broader.
There's no difference. The county, every jurisdiction in Maryland follows the state law. Again, the difference is, so think of, and I'll use this as an example, murder. Murder is a crime, right? Everyone clear on that? Whether or not it's defined as a hate crime needs to be investigated to see whether or not it's based on the act of the murder being done because of my gender, my race, my sexuality, my religion, my status of homelessness, my national origin, and a couple others. There are eight protected classes. So things can be a crime, but it's not categorized as a hate crime until those two things come together.
Right. Okay, thank you again for that clarification. Appreciate it.
Can I ask a quick clarification question?
Sure.
Dr. Nikki, the categories, are those statewide? We have different protected classes by county, but for hate crimes designations, are those protected classes statewide, or is that based on protected classes by the county?
Those are statewide.
Yeah, I thought so. Okay, thank you so much.
The interesting thing for Maryland, they're federally protected classes.
Okay.
Maryland has added homelessness as a protected class. No other state, or not many other states, have homelessness as a protected class.
Okay. Thank you.
You are welcome.
And again, thank you for a very good presentation, Dr. Nikki.
Thank you. Thank you for having us, and thank you, ZU.
Yes, indeed. Appreciate your presentation of the monthly data. At this point in time, I defer to Commissioner Michaels, who would give well, before I do that, I might want to explain one of the items on the agenda, which is the adoption of a Human Relations Commission membership responsibilities document. That perhaps is me jumping the gun a little bit with that. Was discussed in the executive committee, and I thought that we would bring it forward for adoption by the commission today, but I'll now turn to Commissioner Michaels, and he can explain where we are with that and when we can expect to see it so that the whole commission can review it and then adopt. the
Sure.
Human Relations Commission membership responsibilities. Commissioner Michaels.
Thank you, Commissioner Peterson. The executive committee believes that we wanted to, and I know that Chairman Peterson emailed all the commissioners, but we're I don't know how else to put it. We're stepping up our game. If we're going to make a difference, and be accountable for our responsibilities and role as commissioners, then we feel it's important to have things spelled out and easy to follow. So think of it as a job description. And Director Smith was kind enough to put together, and I don't know if it was shared with everybody, but it was, I think, Chanel, if you could share it, that would be great with everybody, which is the link to this. It is only we're going to call this a working document. The executive committee are going to put some, cross the T's and dot the I's. We're going to look at this, but I think by November, not only are we going to have the responsibilities and roles confirmed, but and all of you can chime in and or send an email with information. But this has also been taken from the overall statement that is, and Commissioner Shar can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's from what is in the title and what we are to be doing as a commission. And so the commissioner roles are broken down and in categories. We have a mission by the county executive and with respect to non-discrimination and harassment and equity and community relations. So there's that. Then there is the programs that we should be aware of that is surrounding especially our commission. And as we move through our responsibilities, we're going to learn more about what those relevant programs are and what we should be doing about them, understand the context of what the organization is working on, and then a strategic direction, which the executive committee wants to do for the commissioners to make it easier for you to understand where we stand and what we should be voting on as far as a plan of action, so that we can report back to the county executive, report back to those that we are responsible for to say, this is what we're doing, this is how we're doing it, this is how we're going to accomplish it, this is who's going to be benefited from it, and then results, data. So that's how I'm looking at this. But to do that, we realize we're all volunteers. So I know that when I volunteer, I want my time to be of value to myself and to the commission and the people that are being served. And so therefore, I want the meetings, I want the executive committee, I want the rules, I want everybody showing up. I want everybody doing their job. I'm speaking personally, but also this is how our commitment and involvement can be attended to by the commission meetings and the functions, going to these meetings, listening to everybody, taking down the notes, following Robert's Rules of Orders, having minutes. These are all part of the overall HRC. All of us should serve on one committee and make that work and report back to the full commission. We should think strategically and work collaboratively. Demonstrate legal and ethical integrity. And here we heard from Dr. Smith Key about things that she's working on. We've heard from the other person who gave the report for Director Smith. These are all items that any commission that's within a county or city or state should follow, and that's legal and ethical integrity. Always important, if you talk about it, we need to build the relations within the community that support and inform the organization's work. A positive public image out there, when we can attend things that we represent the HRC at, whether it's the commission or the county, we need to, submit a positive image. Inform the others of the commission and advocacy work that we're doing, I think is very important. I know that I try to when I'm out and about. Where you have your ego in check, but it's the work that you're doing to help others. Recruit and suggest commissioner nominees who can make significant contributions to work of the commission. I know that is something that I have yet to do, but I do talk about the work that we're doing. I'm very proud of our work. And so it's now, if that's one of our areas of importance, I know that I'm going to be starting to recruit others to, because we all are on a particular term. And so our term's going to come up. So let's start thinking about that now of who would work well. And then the final thing, and we talked about it just earlier in this meeting, but what are our goals and objectives? And I think we've always had this written into our guidelines, and that is legislative and regulatory issues, because all the talking in the world is great, but if we aren't changing policy, writing testimony, supporting things that help human relations in the county, in the state, in the country, in the community that we live, then what are we doing? Again, this is me speaking personally, but also how I think we should be as commissioners and what we should be, the kind of work we're doing. And what goes around comes around. If we help enough people succeed, they will succeed. We don't have to worry about ourselves. So I think leveraging our connection and networks, here we have Commissioner Dedoni, part of the NAACP. She does the breakfast. There's many things that she does that brings influence and helps to widen the work that we're doing. She brings to the table things or incidents that are happening that we should be focusing on. Commissioner Sorrow, she works in with the community legal services. She's there on the front lines of doing work with housing and security and stuff. This is information that we need as a commission. Here we have the fabulous Dr. Smith Key. She's doing this report. She has this grant from the government. Please hold on to that money. This is information and data we need. This is how we're going to navigate through the system and navigate through this period of our country that is where, for me, it seems like things are being taken away. Yeah, I'm a white old man, but I ally with everyone that's on this commission and what's happening, and I need to be educated better. I need to know how to speak correctly. Chairman Peterson is spending time with me to train me to be a better commissioner. I'm taking notes. So that's all what's important to me. I am excited about this commission. I am excited about what we can do and where we can take it. And I know that I need to look to all of you to help me be a better commissioner. And then, how can we help this constituency and the people that we are to be commissioners to? How can we help that community? So I want more people from the different communities that Commissioner Hajeva was talking about. Her community. I want the community, the systemic inequities that have faced Black women throughout the ages and women in general. We need to be speaking for them and, being out there fighting for them. So I have big notions. I don't know, but this is just the start of this. But if we can, commissioners have like their job description or what we're supposed to be working on, and we're all sort of helping and supporting each other, which I think we already do, then I think we're going to go really far and we're going to make a difference, because I think we're the front line of what's, going on in the country. And I think we need to be that wall that stops it from coming in to our county. That's why I'm, concerned about ICE and 287G and all these things, like who's protecting our citizens and how can we help and protect them. So that is what that's my report on the exhaustive list in no particular order of what the commissioners I think should be expected to do. And if Chanel was kind enough to share that information, that would be great, I think.
Commissioner David,
Yes.
are you running for an office? We can vote for you.
No. Thank you, Commissioner. Now this is just me being me,
You're amazing. You're amazing. Thank you.
Thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. Commissioner Dedoni and Commissioner Sorrow, Commissioner Gaskin, Commissioner Hatcher, any thoughts?
On what you just said?
Renee and Commissioner Newman, I'm sorry. Yeah.
For a year and a half, I've watched Director Smith being an exemplar of professionalism.
Right.
Since the day she's arrived, I've watched Dr. Nikki be an exemplar of professionalism. Throughout my entire time on this commission, I have seen Ms. Clemens be a quiet, humble exemplar of service and professionalism. And I see Ziyu as an exemplar of a young person bringing her professionalism to the game. The thing that has moved me most is to realize that I've been letting these magnificent women down by not being my best.
Well, Commissioner Dedoni, I would argue that point, because you've taken leadership roles in other areas. I didn't know who you were when I came onto the commission. I know that we asked that you be on the executive committee because we need all voices. We just don't need a voice. We need all voices, and we all need to be open to hear the truth. You bring the truth to the table a lot.
I appreciate
It's hard
you
to hear.
recognizing that I have a contribution, but I can be better. These women are amazing.
They are amazing. And I remember saying to Director Smith the other day, if it wasn't for Commissioner Sorrow, who was not a commissioner at the time, I don't believe, and Director Smith, I didn't even know that I went to their very first fair housing presentation at Maryland Hall, and the wheels came off the wagon and off we went. And now we're having a housing symposium. I'm involved with Commissioner Sorrow can share that we were on two sides of a coin once, like a good 5-6 years ago. And here we are, colleagues, commissioners, friends, all working in the same direction to support women and children who are don't have all the same opportunities, and we're trying to help them. Commissioner Peterson.
Yes.
Thoughts? There's my report on the direction. We're going to put a few more parameters on this, but have it to be voted on by November, along with possibly some other things too.
Okay. Without exception, want to thank you for your report and the discussion that ensued. Are there any further discussions, questions from any of the other commissioners?
And did everybody get a copy of it in their email or on here on the chat?
I can put another link in there.
Okay,
Yeah,
that would
it's
be
a
good.
Google Drive thing, just so they could see sort of what the list of responsibilities, involvement, so they know what they're getting themselves into. And I'm happy to make your acquaintance, Commissioner Newman. I'm really happy you're on the committee, commission.
I appreciate it. I'm excited to be here and I'm excited to learn and be a part of the panel and happy to contribute however I can.
Thank you.
And may I ask a question? I'm sorry, I'm trying to find my hand
Sure.
here too. Just to confirm that the responsibilities will go to those folks who don't generally appear to meetings or often don't. Though, I mean, the folks who really need to hear what those responsibilities are.
Yeah, and I think the best way I can say this is prime the pump. Chairman Peterson sent out. Am I correct, Chairman Peterson? You sent out an email a while ago saying that the commissioners need to be responsible for showing up for meetings. This is like check this box, now the next box, and so on and so forth. I think we have to hold each other to account, or what's the use of going to the meetings then? Because I have things to do. So if I want to participate and make things happen for everybody, and so it's helping each other out. And if those commissioners can't, I get it. If they can't make the commitment, thank you very much for your time and energy. Let's move on. I think we can find some people. I think we're at that point now where there are some exciting people out there that want to get on our commission. So, and we have some opening. We have 2 openings. So we need to get those filled first. So I'm excited about reaching out and, Commissioner Sorrow, maybe we need to do a little networking at next Wednesday. By the way, you're all invited, and if you need a ticket to the Affordable Housing Symposium, we'll comp your ticket and I'll have our students just send you an email. 8 to 2, Sarah Elfridge is going to give the opening at 8:30 a.m. She's personally. The governor is going to record a welcome also. I'm throwing everything in, Chairman Peterson. I'm just putting it all into the same speech. So, yeah, I love the Single Parents Idea Commission. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
That concludes your report of the executive.
That concludes it. Yes. There we go.
And moving on to the next agenda item, Director Smith is not with us. Are there any reports or words of wisdom that she left with you, Chanel?
Well, tentatively, the apology for slavery event that was scheduled for November 1st, due to the overwhelming response we received, the new date may be moved to November 22nd.
Oh, okay. So that's being moved.
Yeah, we're looking to make an official announcement, hopefully tomorrow.
Okay. Good to know, because we sent out information asking people to make it noted on their calendars. So appreciate that. And if you would be so kind as to when you get the new date to send it out through the commission, that would be great, Chanel.
Absolutely, happy to do that. That's
Okay.
all I have for now.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And now I'd like to move to Commissioner Hatcher. Is there anything to report from the Annapolis Human Relations Commission?
At this moment, there is nothing to report. I believe that they're still trying to organize on being under new chairman leadership. Yes.
Okay.
So I did reach out to them, just kind of reminding them that once they get back on their regular schedule to just make sure they include me on their monthly meeting.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your report. Okay, at this point in time, I'd like to thank everybody on the commission and everybody that's tuned into our meeting. And at this point in time, I would entertain a motion to adjourn, which is a non-debatable motion.
We have a hand up from
I'm
Commissioner
sorry.
Dadone. I'm sorry. Yes, Commissioner Dadone. You're on mute.
You're muted. You're muted.
Oh, aren't we blessed that I was? I hope this is an appropriate announcement. We learned at last night's Board of Education meeting that some of the attendance data upon which redistricting was being planned has changed. In particular, we have seen an increase in occupancy in the Severn High School cluster area, and a lower seat counts in several Annapolis area schools. This is something that's been seen in other counties as well. The data were just unembargoed to the extent they've been unembargoed. This is preliminary data very recently. We do not have details. We will not have very good details until mid-November at the earliest. Many of us are wondering if this is a demographic shift. Residents attend schools, not just citizens. And we don't know if that's the case or not, but an unexpected shift took place. It may be worthwhile keeping our eye on. I'm attempting to keep my eye on it, and if it's of interest, I will report back to this body.
Okay. Appreciate that information and look forward to any report that you might bring to us.
If there's no other discussion, I would like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Moved by Commissioner Michaels, seconded by Commissioner Sorrow. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? It looks like it's unanimous. Thank you again, everybody, for tonight. Very, very good, robust discussion. Great presentations, and we look forward to our continued work as a commission. Thank you and good evening.
Good evening, everybody. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
See you
Recording stopped.
Wednesday and at Annapolis Pride on Saturday.
Yes.
See you tomorrow. Bye.